Welcome back to another episode of Sean and Ed's Do Baseball. I'm Sean.
And I'm Eds.
And we're bringing you some baseball history.
That's right. We're a bi-weekly baseball history podcast where the story catcher doesn't know what the story pitcher is out on the mound throwing them.
That's right. And it's the World Series, Edsy, so you better have good stuff. That's all I can say. Just
I think I got some good stuff in here. I'm gonna try and work the corners and bring this around for a complete game, I guess.
Sweet. I'm looking forward to this potential complete game. Before we start, where can people find us today?
People can find us somewhere on the World Wide Web, as we've been calling it lately, at Doing Baseball or at Doing.Baseball. If you're scrolling around the internets and you're trying to find somewhere where you can interact with us, you'll probably find us at one of those two handles, whatever website or platform you're looking. So go ahead and check us out there.
Yeah, and it's October. It's playoff month for us, so we bring you playoff baseball stories, and maybe you're grabbing a beverage this wonderful playoff season, especially for our team, and maybe you're grabbing a Two Loons representing Toronto. And yeah, check out Two Loons at twoloonsbrewing.com. Check them out on Instagram at Two Loons Brewing. I don't know, Edsy. I don't know what there is to say that we haven't said before. It's great beer, and they got a West Coast IPA out now. They got some casks at some local bars around Toronto as well. And as always,
please be of legal drinking age, and of course, enjoy responsibly.
All right, I think I'm ready to go. What kind of pitch you got for me today?
I think this one could be a little bit of a slider. You know, it's sort of about a team here. It's going to come in looking like it's hanging right over the plate, and then it's just gonna slide right on out of there, out of your wheelhouse.
I was gonna say there is two types of sliders. One that does that, which is what you, and then there's the hanging slider.
No, this one I don't think it's gonna hang. But
all right,
I was sort of inspired to tell this story a little bit because as you sort of mentioned, our team is in the World Series, and it was kind of unexpected. So, going up against a team like the Dodgers, who, I don't know if I'm fully committed to calling them a juggernaut, but they've been there for the last few years. So I guess in a lot of people's minds, and I guess in mine as well, our Jays are considered an underdog. So
sure.
This is a bit of an underdog story.
I love it.
Okay.
I love it. I'm calling the Dodgers a juggernaut. They've
okay.
They've been to the World Series like at least 3 times in the past 5 years. That's pretty juggernautish.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's fair enough. I can't disagree with you there. But I guess if you're ready to receive this story, I'll start pitching it to you.
Let's give her.
Okay. Well, before I get started, as I usually do, I want to just tip my cap to Peter M. Gordon from the Society for American Baseball Research for anchoring a lot of this story, and Baseball Reference as well for anchoring a lot of the game descriptions that I'll probably not that I probably will, that I will be getting to a little bit 100%. Later on. I don't want to tease you too much there. But anyway, I just wanted to tip my cap there, and I'll get started here saying that they called them the Hitless Wonders, which was not exactly the sort of nickname that inspires terror in opposing pitchers. It sounds less like a baseball team and more like a vaudeville act involving mismatched socks and a kazoo.
Okay.
But in the autumn of 1906, those
Ooh.
supposedly hitless men from Chicago's South Side, led by a stern and cerebral player-manager named Fielder Jones, committed one of baseball's most intellectual heists, stealing a World Series from the mighty Chicago Cubs without the courtesy of a functioning offense.
Oh my God. Okay. Okay.
This is
I
this would be the third, I believe it was the third World Series.
Yeah.
And
And what is this Fielder
Fielder Jones.
classic Fielder Jones? And we're talking. I was thinking about. And this is White Sox, right?
Correct.
Oh, I was thinking about the '05 White Sox today. So, I mean, great timing.
Okay.
I know nothing about this World Series. I do know the Cubs were super good at this time.
Okay. Well, this I believe I didn't fact check this or anything, but based on the fact that it's only the third World Series, I believe it would have been the first Subway Series.
Yeah.
Not the. I don't even know if subways were a thing in 1906. Probably not, but
No, I think they might have been. I think Subway. Now we got something else to look up. Look
okay.
up. I'm
Anyway.
gonna get the history of the sandwich.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So as I said, the this was a heist World Series where the
Uh-huh.
Cubs, where the White Sox took it from the mighty Cubs without the courtesy of a functioning offense. And to understand how this happened, one must first understand when it happened, and it happened deep in the heart of the deadball era, when runs were scarce, baseballs were filthier than a bootlegger's conscience, and a good day's entertainment meant watching someone bunt with mathematical precision. So by 1906, offense had not just declined, it had been mugged and left in an alley. A decade earlier, in 1897, National League teams had averaged nearly 292 as a collective batting average. But in 1906, with two leagues and more players than ever before, the American League averaged a meek 249 and the National League an even sadder 244.
Oof.
Yeah.
So it's dead ball era.
Yes. Yes. Several forces conspired to bring the bats to heel. The introduction of the modern home plate in 1900 allowed umpires a clearer view of pitches, shrinking the margin of error for hitters who now had to guess not just what was coming, but where the umpire's mood lay that day. And the new foul strike rule also punished defensive swings. Foul off two, and you were halfway to the bench.
Okay.
So to explain what that kind of says there,
Yeah.
I'm not sure exactly when the rule change was. I know it was before 1906, but batters used to get to pick where they wanted their pitches.
Yeah. Well, this was. I think this was like 1870s.
Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
it's been a little while, but it's definitely contributed to the decline of the offense, and
Yeah.
also previously, I guess, similar to Town Ball or Old Cat or whichever game it was. If you kept fouling it off,
Yeah.
it didn't matter.
Count
That
against
didn't
you.
count as a strike.
Yeah. Yeah. So they changed it. Yeah, and as you mentioned though, like the ball is also not uniform. Like it is disgusting, and it's just not. You used some metaphor there that I didn't even know one of the words. It was like the hitchhiker's trail lot.
No,
I don't
it was darker than a bootlegger's conscience.
know. Oh, conscience. Well, I really misheard all of that. Anyways, so no one's hitting.
No one's hitting, the ball's softer. Pitchers,
Yeah.
never ones to resist a competitive advantage, began experimenting with substances that might make a baseball dance, wiggle, or simply defy physics altogether. Slippery elm, paraffin, saliva, tobacco juice. If it oozed, they'd try it. And since only a couple of balls were used for an entire game, those spheres quickly became a murky, soft mess, ideal for trickery. Shutouts per team skyrocketed, and the White Sox, always eager to outdo everyone in misery and mastery, tossed 32 of them in 1906.
32 shutouts?
Yes, sir.
Wow.
And that is still a record.
Wow. No wonder the games were so quick.
Yeah. Errors were down, defenses were sharper, and runs were precious. The modern idea of a slugger was practically alien. Instead, managers orchestrated, quote, inside baseball, a style of psychological warfare involving bunts, steals, feints, and a kind of gleeful chaos that made every game look and feel like a chess match.
Okay. So it's much more small ball. So it's like the managers are orchestrating the play more than just letting it happen and hoping for the best,
Yeah.
which we kind of do now that guys hit
Yeah.
so well.
Yeah. Trying to manufacture runs was, of the utmost importance. And I learned that too in going through the game descriptions of the individual games in the World Series. There was an insane amount of sacrifice bunts.
Yeah. That's wild.
Yeah.
So someone gets on bunt.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
In just about any situation too, but we'll get there. The conductor of this strategic symphony was, as I mentioned, Fielder Jones, an aptly named player manager who could have been the architect for the phrase, quote, defense wins championships. Jones's style was cerebral, disciplined, and just a bit tyrannical. He demanded obedience, precision, and intelligence from his players. If a man couldn't bunt properly, Jones would likely make him practice until sunset, or longer if the sun disobeyed him as well.
So there is a lot of this is the bunting episode.
Yeah, pretty much.
But it's like it's the fundamental. That's what you hear old people and occasionally one of us say is it is the fundamentals. So if you can't do it, well, first of all, like why are you on the team? But I guess he works his players.
Yeah. Jones taught his team inside baseball, which historian David Anderson later called, quote, a form of unrestrained psychological warfare from the first pitch to the last out. Jones didn't just manage a team, he orchestrated a campaign of attrition. To beat the Sox, an opponent would have to basically play perfectly, and in 1906, perfection was in short supply. The 1905 White Sox had finished second behind Philadelphia thanks to their formidable pitching staff, which returned almost intact in 1906. Frank Owen won 22 games, Nick Altrock 20, Doc White 18, and Ed Walsh, who was still learning his spitter, chipped in 17 wins. The team ERA was a microscopic 2.13, and you could practically hear hitters' morale dropping a full octave when they saw the White Sox in uniform.
So you're getting 2 runs off of them, and that's it.
Yeah, exactly.
Like that's the standard. It's
Yeah.
just like, all right. So you gotta, yeah. So you got if you want to win, you can only give up 1.
Pretty much. But on the Sox, every pitching gem, there was a corresponding offensive dud. The team hit a collective 230.
Okay, yeah.
To put that in perspective, their best hitter was Frank Isbell, and he hit for an average of 279.
Yeah.
Okay. Which I should mention was respectable for the dead ball era, but obviously it was not exactly, a Ruthian performance.
Yeah, but your low average in power hitting doesn't exist. Like, that's not a good combo.
No. George Davis, the 36-year-old shortstop and future Hall of Famer, anchored the lineup with an experienced bat going 277 with 80 RBIs and a knack for clutch hits. The rest of the roster resembled a collection of defensive specialists moonlighting as batters. So you pretty much, you only got those two guys who, you can rely on for a hit at a clutch time. But otherwise, they're a pitching first team, obviously.
Yeah.
Lee Tannehill, their third baseman, hit 183 and still managed to keep his job because he could field like a magician. Jiggs Donahue, their first baseman, hit 257 but led the league in fielding percentage and once recorded an astounding 21 putouts in a single game.
Okay.
Billy Sullivan was their catcher, and he hit 214 but was so good defensively that even Ty Cobb sang his praises. Cobb once said that Sullivan was, quote, the best catcher ever to wear shoe leather.
Ooh. There was a barefoot man, much better.
Yeah.
There was another man, very good, but his shoes were made of feathers.
Yes, but Sullivan was the best man in regular shoes. So, anyway, this was a team that could throw, catch, and think. Hitting was optional. Their home, the 39th Street grounds, which was also known as Southside Park, was also a contributor to the Sox' strong defense. It was a pitcher's park, and it was a vast prairie of a ball field with soft infield and thick grass. The perfect environment to strangle offense. The White Sox practically manicured their home turf to slow down grounders and neutralize sluggers. Only 2 home runs were hit there by the Sox in 1906, and their opponents managed just 1.
Fuck.
Yeah.
3 home runs.
3 home runs all year.
And you're playing 154 games.
Yes.
It's so divided in half. That's, what is that? That's 77 games, 3 home runs.
Yeah. It was less of a baseball field and more of a trap designed by a cunning gardener. The Sox won 70% of their home games, leaning on their pitching dominance. Their opponents could hit screaming line drives into the outfield all day, and the ball would die halfway, and fielder Jones would casually pluck it from the air. So Fielder Jones got a perfect name, too, because he's an outfielder.
That's excellent. That's probably where it came from.
Possibly, yeah. Among the many pitchers who thrived under Jones, Doc White was the model of precision. He was educated at Georgetown and earned a degree in dental surgery. Hence the Doc nickname.
We might have mentioned this guy in the Doc Powers episode.
Possibly. I know that there was a joke made that I don't know if I doubt that Spencer knew of Doc White, but he did say something about a guy being a great dentist. So anyway, Doc's given name was Guy Harris White, so I assume he earned this nickname at Georgetown.
Sure.
White's control was so impeccable that he once pitched 65 consecutive innings without walking a man.
Whoa.
Yeah. Ty Cobb, who hit 367 for his career, managed just 197 against White, and later called him, quote, the toughest pitcher I ever faced. White's 152 ERA in 1906 led the league and would have earned him a Cy Young Award if such a thing had existed at the time.
You'd be like, why is it named after Cy? I fucking hate that guy.
Yeah.
Pitch against him.
Yeah. Then there was Ed Walsh, the young fireballer, who would go on to record the lowest lifetime ERA in Major League history with 182.
Oh. Wow.
Walsh's signature pitch, the spitball, was part science, part dark art. Sam Crawford later claimed that when Walsh's pitch crossed the plate, quote, it was just the spit that went by.
That's juicing.
Yeah.
Different context.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Walsh used the threat of the pitch as much as the pitch itself, the dead ball equivalent of psychological warfare. And then there was Nick Altrock, the team's other 20-game winner, who was a crafty left-hander with pinpoint control and an odd sense of humor that would later make him a vaudeville star. In 1906, though, he was deadly serious and walked just 42 batters in 287 and two-thirds innings.
Wow.
He finished the year with a 2.06 ERA, 1.081 WHIP, and allowed no home runs. His ERA plus was 1.23.
Okay. That's surprisingly low. So he's only 23% better. I thought you were going to say like 145 or 155. But anyways, that just shows how good pitching is back then.
Yeah. So the Sox rotation in modern terms was an assembly line of suffering for opposing hitters.
Yeah.
So despite the strength of the Sox pitching, the 1906 season started sluggishly. By May, the White Sox sat in 6th place, struggling to score and dealing with injuries that would make a modern trainer weep. At one point, Fielder Jones even borrowed a trainer from the University of Chicago to patch up his roster of walking bruises.
That's bad.
Yeah.
Like, we need another doctor in here.
Yeah, we already have
We already have one.
But he only works on teeth, so. But then August came round, and the Southsiders caught fire. They put together a 19-game winning streak that rewrote the season. It began with 3 consecutive shutouts by White, Walsh, and Patterson, and soon the team was a machine. The Sox averaged just over 5 runs a game during the streak, which for them was like an offensive explosion. I think that'd be like, it sounds like that would be an offensive explosion for everybody, but anyway.
Well, yeah, but I mean, you said 5 runs a game? That's, I mean, yeah, at the time, I mean, who are we kidding? They were hitting sucked. We just talked for like 20 minutes about how their hitting sucked. So that's pretty darn good.
Yeah. They defeated nearly every contender in the league, including wins against Cy Young, Chief Bender, and Rube Waddell, who were all future Hall of Famers, and this was all in the same month.
Yeah, okay.
By the end of the streak, the Hitless Wonders were in first place, and they finished the season 93 and 58, 3 games ahead of the New York Highlanders, who became the Yankees, and 5 ahead of Cleveland. Their pitching had carried them, their defense was airtight, and their offense, well, it showed up when it had to, which as it turned out would be their theme in October. So, they win the league, or they win their league, and at this time, there were no playoffs except the World Series.
Of course. So they're facing. I think you've already said it. They're going to face the Cubs.
Yeah, and I'm gonna kind of give a bit of background here before we get into the official game descriptions here, but.
I have to give you a little background, too.
Okay.
The Chicago subway, the L train, broke ground in 1892.
Okay. So we are in a subway series.
We are in a fucking subway series.
Okay. Thank you for clarifying.
No problem. No problem.
The 1906 World Series was Chicago versus Chicago. The South Side's scrappy tacticians against the North Side's aristocrats of offense, the Cubs. On paper, it was a mismatch so absurd that it bordered on cruel because the Cubs had won 116 games.
Wow.
Which is the most
in a once again 154 length season. So.
Yeah. That was my next sentence, but
no,
that's fine. That's the most in a 154 game season, but it's also tied for the most in a 162 game season with the 2001 Mariners.
That's wild.
Yeah.
So basically, we're talking about the 2001 Mariners. They didn't have to go through the playoffs.
Essentially, yes. They finished the season 116, 33, and 3. So
Wow.
they had 3 ties in there as well. But they led the league in nearly every statistical category worth having. Um, Pitcher Mordecai Three Finger Brown finished the
Hmm.
season 26-6 with a 104 ERA, 9 shutouts, a 208 FIP, a 0.934 WHIP, and an astounding 236 ERA plus.
Yeah, that's when you. It's literally giving up 1 run a game, like in
Yeah,
pitching the whole game
yeah.
every time.
So he led the league in all of those categories that I just mentioned.
No
And
doubt.
and they also on the offensive side had Frank Chance, who led the league in runs with 103 and with 57 stolen bases. Harry Steinfeld led the league in hits with 176 and also in RBI with 83. But they also had another player. He didn't lead in any statistical categories, but I would be remiss if I didn't mention my personal favorite player on the Cubs roster this season.
Hmm.
He was the 6th starting pitcher, or at least a guy who was at this time I guess called the change pitcher.
Okay.
But he
Yeah.
he posted respectable numbers himself. But he's my favorite because his name is Orville Overall.
Oh, double O.
Yeah,
Orville overall.
yeah,
Like, okay, all right.
like the shirt pants.
Shirt and the popcorn.
Yeah,
He's popcorn shirt pants.
exactly. Popcorn shirt
Okay,
pants, which
we
is
could just call him that from
which is
now
the
on.
greatest nickname that we've ever come up with on this
Oh
show.
my God! If that guy was alive, we'd find him.
Yeah, yeah. I'm certain he's not alive, but it'd
I
be
don't
great if
know.
he was.
I don't know.
The Sox, meanwhile, had the worst batting average of any team to reach the World Series. But
Yes.
paper, as Fielder Jones would soon prove, doesn't play baseball. The Cubs were so confident that manager Frank Chance publicly announced he'd use his second string pitchers. This was
Okay.
this was, as we now say in academic circles, a mistake.
It was dumb. That sounds dumb.
Yeah. I don't know why he said that, but he didn't do that. So
Remember
anyway,
how much? I don't know if Frank drank, but I'm gonna guess he drank more than like several billion people that are alive today.
probably. Yeah.
It's just like, fuck it, I'm just gonna use my second string. They can't hit.
Yeah. So anyway, that's the lead up to the World Series, and we'll get into it here. Game one, naturally, Mordecai Three Finger Brown, the Cubs
Yeah.
ace, took the mound in the first game against the Sox Nit Alt-Rock. So right away, Frank's statement is untrue.
Yeah, he's going with his ace in game one. Maybe it was a misleading. He was like, I know how to get him.
Yeah, yeah. In freezing conditions, the opposing pitchers dominated early, both remaining perfect through 3 innings. Then in the 5th inning, a combination of daring base running and Cubs' defensive jitters, they let the Sox scrape together a run. George Rohe led off and drove the pitch from Brown to left for a triple, and Jiggs Donahue then struck out, but the next batter, Patsy Doherty, hit a comebacker to Brown. Brown threw the ball home, but catcher Johnny Kling, ironically enough, couldn't cling to the throw, which allowed Rohe to score.
Okay, so leadoff triple, then strikeout comebacker. You think you're good,
Yeah,
and you're not.
and
All
you're
right.
and you're not. The Sox scored another in the 6th. Nick Alt-Rock drew a walk, was sacrificed to second on an Ed Hahn bunt. Sox skipper Fielder Jones then came to the plate and singled. As Alt-Rock attempted to score from second, he drew a throw to the plate and was tagged out, but Fielder moved to second on the throw, putting him in scoring position.
Okay.
Okay, so no run there. But
And
then,
Satan Say Nick Alt-Rock drew a walk.
Yes.
Say that over and over. Anyway, sorry.
Nick Alt-Rock drew a walk.
Nick, see,
I can
I
say
feel
it.
like that's like a warm up.
I can say it once.
Yeah.
Fielder moved to second scoring position.
Yeah, he's in score position.
Yeah, he then advanced to third on a pass ball and scored on a single by Frank Isbell. The Cubs scored one back in the bottom of the frame on a wild pitch, but Alt-Rock held them off for a 2-1 win. The South Side had drawn first blood, and Fielder said, quote, "This should prove the leather is mightier than the wood."
I love it. I love it. That is very, very kinky sounding, but also like a great quote about defense prevailing over offense.
Yeah. It is kind of kinky sounding.
It's very kinky sounding.
So for game 2, we're at Southside Park.
Okay.
And the Cubs' Ed Rulebach nearly threw a no-hitter while Sox resident dentist Doc White struggled in the cold, giving up 3 runs in the second inning and another in the third. Fielder pulled White for Frank Owen, who gave up another 3 runs over the final 6 frames. The Sox managed a single run in the 5th without recording a hit. Jiggs Donahue walked to lead off. Patsy Doherty reached on a 5-4 fielder's choice and then advanced to second on a wild pitch to Billy Sullivan, who eventually fouled out. Lee Tannehill then reached first on an error by Cubs shortstop Joe Tinker that allowed Patsy to score. Donahue broke up the no-hitter in the 7th, but it was the only hit the Sox could muster all game, and they lost 7-1.
Okay. All right. So we got it's tied, right? It's 1-1.
It's 1-1. And
yes, perfect. This is a perfect metaphor, especially as we record this on Sunday night, and our team won the first game and then got pitchered in the second game.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I like where this is going.
Local newspapers promptly declared that the Cubs had found their groove and that the series was over.
Yeah, it's over.
Which in hindsight aged about as well as warm milk.
There you go.
So back to the West Side Park for Game 3. Maybe this is. I mean, I don't think it is this way because it's just in Chicago, but I would hate this if they traveled every game.
Yeah. Well, maybe it's special. Maybe they did it like back and forth just because it was like they didn't have rules back then.
No. Back then they did whatever the fuck they want, but they certainly.
Exactly.
The last.
Wait, our park's being used as a soup kitchen today? We can't host a World Series game. Can we play at your park?
Well, they certainly the last Subway series that I remember anyway was what 2000. New York and New York.
Yeah, I feel like we were close to a different one, but yes, that's. But of course, but we have this set. Like, there's a precedent. Like, from. We know next year's World Series is going to be 2-3-2, right?
Yeah. So anyway, continuing on here, we're back to West Side Park for Game 3, and enter Ed Walsh, who is facing rookie Jack Feister. Walsh unleashed his spitter with malicious glee. The Cubs recorded exactly 2 hits all game, and both came in the first inning.
Wow.
Solly Hoffman led off with a single. Walsh then struck out Jimmy Sheckard, and Hoffman was caught trying to steal second, and Frank Schulte then doubled to right, but the threat was neutralized when Frank Chance grounded out to second. The Sox offense, naturally, got only 4 hits themselves, but one of them was George Rohe's bases-clearing triple in the 6th. It was a 2-out bases-loaded knock that scored Lee Tannehill and a pair of Eds, Walsh and Hahn.
There you go.
Which secured, which secured a 3-0 victory for the Southsiders. Rohe's retort to the Cubs catcher Kling, who had mocked him as a quote busher was simple: hit a triple, win the game, and collect immortality. Walsh cruised the rest of the game, collecting 12 strikeouts in the victory, 2-1 White Sox.
All right. All right.
Okay.
So the pitching's winning out. Well, for both teams technically, but yeah. All right. So we're up 2-1. Game 4.
Yeah. With the series switching back to Sox territory, Brown returned to face Alt Rock again in a rematch of Game 1. Alt Rock put together a fine performance, allowing just one run off 7 hits and a walk in a complete game, but he was edged out by Three Finger Brown, who pitched a masterful game himself. Brown allowed just 2 hits and surrendered 2 walks in a complete game of his own. Just one White Sox hitter advanced beyond second base all game.
Wow.
Yeah. The Cubs' lone run came in the 7th inning when Frank Chance singled to left to lead off. 2 sacrifice bunts by Steinfeld, and Tinker moved the player-manager to third, and then Ed Hahn lost the ball in the sun, allowing Johnny Evers to single home Chance. Brown locked the game down, retiring 9 of the next 10 Sox hitters to seal the victory. And the series was tied 2-2, and both teams were batting below 200. Just the way Fielder Jones liked it.
There you go.
And now we're on to Game 5. Now with the series down to a best of 3, the setting shifted back to the Cubs' home. Fielder Jones scolded his team for collecting just 11 hits in 4 games.
Jesus Christ. You're 2-2.
Yeah.
But yeah, I get it. All right.
Well, he did run, what did they call it earlier? Like a team of attrition or something like that?
Yeah.
So anyway, he scolded his team, and particularly second baseman Frank Isbell, who was 1 for 16 in the series, and also responsible for 3 errors.
Oh fuck. Yeah. Well, I'd be pissed too.
Yeah. So Isbell's getting wrung out here, and Ed Walsh returned to the mound facing Ed Rulbach in the back and forth contest. I know. Well, here comes a third Ed.
All right.
Ed Hahn led off the top of the first with a single. Jones moved him over to second on a sac bunt, and Isbell rose to the occasion and scored Hahn on a ground rule double, taking his manager's criticism to heart. The Cubs answered back in the bottom of the inning, scoring leadoff man Solly Hoffman and Frank Schultz on a grounder by Harry Steinfeld. Frank Chance was called out at second, but Steinfeld was able to avoid the double play and actually advance further when another throwing error was made by second baseman Isbell. So that's 4 errors now for Isbell.
I mean, you got a hit, though.
Yeah. Joe Tinker then came to the plate and pulled off the safety squeeze, bunting towards third, scoring Steinfeld from third. 3-1 Cubs. In the 3rd inning, the Sox fought back and tied the game on the strength of back-to-back doubles by Isbell and George Davis, which brought the Southsiders within 1 and knocked Rulbach from the game. So there's Isbell, 2 doubles. There
you go. He's got 4 bases. He's doing good. He just can't field all of a sudden.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Jack Feister took his place on the mound, struck out George Rohe for the first out, and then hit Jiggs Donahue, sending him to first with a free pass. Patsy Doherty then grounded into a fielder's choice that sent Davis to third and retired Donahue at second. Then with Billy Sullivan batting, 2 out, men on the corners, the Sox base runners pulled off a masterful double steal in which Doherty stole second and Davis stole home.
Oh, all right.
Which is just crazy to me.
Well, I mean, you see it sometimes when they do the guy from first goes to second, and if they throw down to second, you steal home from the guy at third. Like I feel like that's what they did, but
That is what they did, but that's a very rare occurrence.
Imagine a manager doing that in the World Series.
Yeah.
I'm going to toot my own horn right now and say I won a playoff game once, sending a guy to steal home in extra innings. But anyways,
well, good for you.
well, not on that play though. It was a straight fucking steal.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Walsh had a shutdown inning in the bottom half, and the so-called hitless wonders broke it open in the fourth, scoring 4 more runs on 4 hits, including 3 doubles and 2 bases on balls. Frank Isbell collected his 3rd double of the contest, and Feister was replaced on the mound by Popcorn Shirt Pants. Orville Overall. I couldn't wait to bring that up.
Oh, man, that's so good.
The Cubs clawed back another run in the bottom half to bring them within 4, but the Sox got that run back in the 6th when Rohei's RBI single off Overall scored Frank Isbell from second after he recorded his World Series record 4th double of the game.
Son of a gun. He is collect. That's basically like 4 home runs. I love it.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. And just a side note, that record still stands to this day.
Four doubles in a game, or 4 doubles in a game in a World Series?
4 doubles in a World Series game. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right. Cool. I wouldn't have been surprised if it was the other way too. It's tough to hit 4 doubles.
Walsh loaded the bases in the bottom half and gave up a 2-run double to Frank Schulte, and his night was nearly done. He faced Steinfeld, who led off the Cubs 7th, but he was taken out after a leadoff double. Doc White came in to close the game out and got the job done, denying the Cubs for 3 innings. The Sox won 8-6 in a game that shocked the city and baseball fans at large. The Southside squad had beaten the powerful Cubs 3 times on their own turf and were 1 win away from a World Series upset.
I love it. I love it. They're like, they actually scored runs, and the dentist came in and saved the game.
They scored 14 runs. We hadn't scored 14 runs in a month.
Some of the clergy are saying it was evil.
Yes. So here we go on to Game 6, and Frank Chance, perhaps panicking a little, brought back 3-fingered Brown on just 1 day's rest. And Fielder Jones, who still wanted a lefty to start the game, countered with Doc White, who had pitched 3 innings the day before.
Hell yeah.
The Cubs started strong, getting to White for 1 run in the top of the first, as Sully Hoffman singled and then trotted home on a 1-out double by Schulte. But Brown didn't have it. The Sox pounced for 3 runs in the bottom half of the frame and then added 4 more in the second. 3-finger was bounced from the game and replaced by Popcorn Shirt Pants, Orville Overall, who allowed a single to Jiggs Donahue and then walked Patsy Doherty before striking out Sullivan to end the inning. Brown's line was a dismal 7 earned runs on 8 hits in 1 2/3 innings pitched.
No, I didn't think it was going to go that bad.
Yeah, which is quite amazing considering that his ERA for the season was less than 1.
Wasn't it like 1.01 or 2 or something? It was. Oh, anyways, you would know.
Yeah, I don't want to school. I'll check it at the end, but I'm pretty sure that. Yeah, you know what? You might be right. It might have been just over 1.
I think it was just over 1, but that's because you told me that, not because I know that.
Yeah. White then cruised to victory and scattered 7 hits and allowed just 2 more runs, 1 in the 5th and 1 in the 9th to seal an 8-3 victory. He finished his day out-dueling the ace of the season, going 9 innings for 3 earned runs on 9 hits and 4 base on balls. Final score of the series, Hitless Wonders 4, Cubs 2.
Damn.
Yeah. Chicago's South Side erupted. The impossible had happened. The worst hitting team in baseball had beaten the greatest regular season team ever assembled, the Cubs. Perhaps dazed, consoled themselves by winning the next two World Series, but 1906 belonged to Jones's men, who had turned cunning into an art form.
That is a wild World Series. I'm trying to add up the offensive outburst at the end, like the White Sox. Like who would have put the White Sox after everything we talked about, and even like after their performance, like in the first 4 games, the White Sox scored 6 runs in the first 4 games, and they scored 16 in the last 2. That is,
yeah.
I don't think anybody had that.
No, I don't think anybody expected that at all. But to continue on here, historians have long debated whether the 1906 White Sox pulled off the greatest upset in baseball history. Peter M. Gordon from SABR called it exactly that in the Baseball Research Journal decades later, and the numbers make a strong case, but calling it an upset somewhat misses the point. Jones's team didn't win by luck. They won because they understood the game better than anyone else. Their pitching staff outthought, outthrew, and outlasted their opponents. Their defense suffocated teams. Their hitters, for all their statistical anemia, produced in the clutch. Using modern analytics, Total Baseball estimated that they should have scored about 531 runs that season. Instead, they scored 570. In other words, they outperformed their own talent through pure execution and timing. Addie Joss, the Cleveland Hall of Famer, who faced them often, said it best, quote, "The Sox are game to score, are game to the core. They make the inside play. They always make the pitcher pitch." In a league where hitters swung wildly at anything that moved, the White Sox waited, patient, calculating, and infuriatingly precise. Their triumph also carried a psychological dimension. Jones understood that the Cubs, accustomed to dominance, would grow frustrated when their offense couldn't assert itself. His team weaponized discipline and turned it into momentum. Henry Chadwick, the father of baseball, put it succinctly, the Sox, quote, "won on generalship alone." In the years that followed, the Cubs would dominate the National League, winning pennants in 1907, 1908, and 1910. But the 1906 White Sox were no fluke. Between 1904 and 1908 under Jones, they averaged 90 wins a year. They were a reflection of their time, a perfect machine for the dead ball era, built to bunt, steal, and squeeze their way to victory. Jones's brand of baseball, meticulous and unrelenting, may not have been pretty, but it worked. His players, most of them unheralded outside of Chicago, became symbols of what discipline and intelligence could achieve in a sport often ruled by instinct and ego. Perhaps Fielder Jones himself said it best. Quote, "They were a club that a manager could depend on. Called the Hitless Wonders, it is true that their batting was light, but they hit at the right time. Every man knew his business. Baseball was at their fingertips. They won games because they were good ball players, and a good ball player can't be manufactured out of batting averages." End quote. In the end, the Hitless Wonders were not defined by what they couldn't do, which was hit, but by what they could do better than anyone else. Think, adapt, and win. They didn't just play baseball, they outsmarted it.
That was pretty good. That gives me so much hope. You don't understand what you're doing.
I know.
Right now.
I
mean, our pitching staff is not nearly as good as this pitching staff, but just the stuff about the hitters and everybody overperforming and like making the team work and making the team fucking damn.
That's what I was going for, my friend.
I mean, is there a White Sox World Series that's not interesting? Like,
I don't.
1906, 1917, 1919, of course. God.
That's a good question. I can't think of one that's not interesting, to
Well,
be
because then they
honest.
didn't fucking win one till 2005, which I was thinking about the other day.
Yeah.
No, that's there's a lot of. I mean, we've covered the 1918 one, which we kind of covered the 1917 one because it leads into all the shit that went down in 1918. But like, no, that was a good. You said it was going to be an underdog story. That was a good underdog story. I didn't. Yeah,
Hmm.
that
I
was
don't know
just.
if that fully was a slider or not, but anyway.
I mean, yeah, no, it was. I mean, yeah, I kind of knew who was going to win the whole time. Like a little bit more of a fastball, maybe, but I do like. I think the slider was them putting up 16 runs in the last two games. That that all of a sudden took a bite and dropped out of the zone. That was wild.
That's fair. That's fair.
I like it. I liked it. I think it's fine. We can just make shit up too.
Yeah, that's true. We're not to be held to our pitch selection. So
Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna find a way to work in split finger at some point soon. So,
well, it seems like everybody's working a split finger in these days. So you might as well join the pack.
dude, I missed my calling. I missed my calling. I was a splitty guy back in 2004, 2005. Come on. White Sox years. Wow. Anyways, thank you for that story. That was great. Appreciated it. I knew nothing about that in the first Subway series. We learned something great. So thank you for listening. Wherever you're listening, however you're listening, give us a review, give us a rating, give us a follow. Whatever, tell your friends. It's baseball. Everybody likes baseball right now because it's the World Series. So, share with your friends. We got a couple more baseball history stories for you in 2025, and we'll be taking a break after that to come back for 2026. Our team's in the World Series, and that's why it took us an extra week to give you this, because, like, who wants to write? Well, you can be watching your team in the ALCS and beyond. So, yeah, thank you for your patience. Edsy, where can people find us?
People can find us somewhere on the World Wide Web at Doing Baseball or at Doing Baseball. Yeah, chime in. We'd love to chat with you. As if you're listening to this today, the day that it comes out, also enjoy Game 5 tonight. So
Yeah, should be fun. Should be fun. Dodgers fans, find us, shit talk us. Let's go. Let's go. Bring it. You got it. Anyways, we two loons, all that. We should get out of here. Thanks so much for listening. I'm Sean,
and I'm Eds.
and we were doing baseball.
Okay, bye.